Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome once again to a live streaming show tonight. It's going to be an interesting one, I think. I'm going to do a game that I have not live streamed before myself, but I think that it's going to be very interesting for you. We're going to do Shroud of the Avatar for Forsaken Virtues is the name of the episodes that they are currently on. We'll get into explaining what Shroud of the Avatar is all about here in just a few moments. I'm just trying to make sure that all the streams are working correctly. I am not only streaming on YouTube as I usually do, but I'm going to attempt to stream over there on Twitch TV as well. So if you guys want to tune into me over there on Twitch, well, there you go. We are we are over there as well. So hopefully everybody will be having a good time tonight. Again, it's going to be a little bit of a different game. I've not done this one before on live stream. I've played some of it just so that I can get the hang of it a little bit. Because it's a very intricate sort of game. It's an MMORPG that is a buy-to-play. They do have a free trial that's available for you guys if you want to check it out, of course. But overall, it is a buy-to-play type of game, which means that there's no monthly cost to it. There's no monthly subscription or anything like that that you need to pay in order to play. But there is the buying aspect of it to begin with. It's a let me see here. I think they've got it right now for $39 on their website. And yeah, the website is shroudoftheavatar.com. It's a very cool game. I'll get into explaining it here as we go, but again, we're working over there on Twitch right now too. So cool, that'll work. Had to kind of test things to make sure that it was functioning over there too. So anyways, Shroud of the Avatar. This is a literal spiritual successor to Ultima Online, which is a game that I played a hell of a lot of. I played about 12 years worth of time in Ultima Online. From the day that they opened up the servers to play forward is where I was at. You know, that was sort of my game. And it's basically the granddaddy of them all, really. I mean, Meridian 59 was the first, what could be classified as an MMO to come out. And then they came out with Ultima Online. And yeah, so Shroud of the Avatar is very much based on the idea of the Ultima games. And if you guys are not familiar with the Ultima games, where have you been? The Ultima games started coming out during the late 1970s, and they pretty much were publishing them up until Ultima 9 came out. They then released Ultima Online, and once Ultima Online was released, they kind of stopped doing the single player versions of the games, and they just went strictly with UO. Moving forward from there, the game was originally published by Origin, not the Origin that you guys might be familiar with at this point in time, but Origin as its original concept was, and it was run by Richard Garriott, also known as Lord British. So when they published the Ultima games, Lord British, was the creator of all of the Ultima games and the creative direction behind them all. And when Ultima Online basically got bought out by EA, and they started doing a lot of changes, they pretty much bought out Richard Garriott, Lord British, and sort of he went his own direction from there. This game is very much inspired by all of the Ultima games. It was actually created by Richard Garriott, as well as a lot of the members of the Ultima Online team. Darkstar, Starlong, I think is his name. He is the executive producer, basically, of this Shroud of the Avatar game, and he was as well for the Ultima Online. And so it's a lot of the same devs that worked on Ultima Online also worked on this, and they sort of brought it into the modern age. And the interesting thing with Shroud of the Avatar is that it was entirely crowd-funded to build the game from the ground up. And it's still crowdfunded essentially. I mean, it's now on full release, and that was as of about a week and a half ago. And from there, again, they're very reliant upon the backers to keep it going, to keep the servers running and to keep development going. And basically their plan is every month they are going to be releasing new content into the game. So very cool little set of events that sort of brought Shroud of the Avatar to life. A lot of the lore in the game is inspired by Ultima Online. Lord British is a part of the game world here as well, and it's sort of a classic RPG sort of a feel. Is what they were going with when they first envisioned this game. As you guys can see, I've got a little bit of guild chat going on over here. In fact, I'll say hi. So there we go. Just telling them that I'm doing a little bit of live streaming here tonight. Anyways, so the game, it's very much a throwback to sort of the retro ways of doing things. Back when there was this idea of coming into the world as yourself and making the best that you could do. So that's literally what they've done with the game. The game doesn't have a class system. They have a skill-based system. So they have in place of, if you are familiar with MMORPGs or RPGs in general, usually when you start the game, you have a class that you start off with, and you sort of raise levels in that class to gain new skills and new powers and abilities and all of that kind of good stuff. So what they did with this instead is they made it so that the game is entirely skill-based, and as you do actions, you raise in skill depending on whatever you're doing. So for instance, if you're using a bow or a crossbow, which is what I use primarily on this character, you will raise in ranged combat and the associated sub-skills from there. So let me show you the skill tree here real quick so that you guys can get an idea. There are, let me see here, 20 different skills that you can possibly use. So ranged, bludgeon, blades, let me see here. Pole arms, shields, heavy armor, and light armor. That is your combat skills. And then if you, for instance, look in the ranged tree, there is a breakdown of the ranged skills from there. So this right here is literally ranged combat. The higher you raise that skill, the more damage you're going to do with bows and crossbows. This is the aimed shot skill. And the higher you raise that in level, then when you use the the aimed shot skill, it's going to do progressively more damage and have a lower cooldown and that kind of stuff. And then once you've got that to a certain level, then this opens up, then this opens up, and this opens up. So it just kind of goes from there. You have literally you have to use the skills to gain in skill to be able to progress forward in the skill tree. And then once you unlock something in that next line, then you have to raise that up before that can go in, before that opens up. And then just like all the other trees, you can see these are connected right here. So you'd have to learn these two skills and these two skills before you can learn this skill. And then this skill opens up from there. So these open up as you progress. As you can see, I've got this one open up right now, and it is level 31 currently. So Eagle Eye is level 31 at this present moment in time. If I get it raised up to level 40, this will unlock. And which one is this one? This one is range. So if I raise this in level, then the shots that I take will go further. It's a longer range bonus. And then that opens up to these over here. So all of these different skill or combat type of tree has its own skill trees, its own skills within that skill tree, and costs, your experience points to actually raise those up, and you have to use them to get them to raise. So right now, currently with this character, I am using ranged primarily, but I also have blades raising as well for when I run out of arrows, basically, and I'm still out adventuring. I don't want to really stop or be completely defenseless, so I have blades as sort of my secondary combat skill. So then from there, this part of the tree right here, this part of the skill block is your magic skills. These work exactly the same as the combat skills. The combat skills use different weapons and armor to progress, and the more you use that particular weapon or armor and skills within that weapon and armor, the higher that's going to raise. Your magic is the same way. So right now I've also got my, let me see here, water is what I've been working on. I've got my water skills, my water magic raising, so that I can use this right here, the summon water elemental skill. The water elemental is really nice. It's handy for when you do a lot of soloing, because it will do some damage in combat. It will defend you and sort of act as a little bit of an off tank for you if you're getting attacked by more than one creature, but it also has the ability to heal you. So when you take damage in combat, as you do, the water elemental will cast healing skills or healing spells towards you. So it's pretty nice, but it also has a couple of other nice sort of buffs, as well as combat spells that you can use. I don't use the water combat spells too much. I use sometimes the ice arrow. And when I have the blades equipped, I use the Ice Fist because I'm generally in very close melee range. So I have that on my bar, but I don't use it too frequently. Douse is a pretty nice little buff that you can use. The Soothing Rain is a heal over time spell, which I will use sometimes in combat too. So some nice skills within that, but I don't usually focus on those too much. That's not my primary driving force with the with this character. Primarily, I am either a ranged or blade. Then down here at the bottom, you have your general sort of skills, and these are helpful depending on what you're trying to focus on with your skill sets that you've got going. So the tactics part of the tree, this has your the more you raise the top level one here, healthy, the more hit points you have, which means that you can take more damage before you die. And I'm also raising up the armor preservation and weapon preservation, because you do have durability on your weapons and your armor. The higher you have these, the less damage they take overall, and the less often you have to repair them. I also am raising up my strength, because strength is always nice. It gives you the ability to carry more items. You can get over encumbered, and when you're out hunting, that's kind of a pain in the butt to have happen, because then you can't walk very fast. So I'm raising that one up. It also has like some impact on the other skills, especially with the blades. So yeah, so I'm using some of the skills here in the tactics tree, although I'm probably not going to focus too heavily on this, at least as of right now. The subterfuge, I'm not really doing much with this other than training my dexterity. Again, there are a lot of skills that are within this tree. And this one's primarily for those that like to play kind of like more roguey kind of characters. There are some skills in here that will help out with that, such as pickpocketing, for instance. You can actually pickpocket other players and NPCs. You can also use like poison on your weapons and that kind of stuff. So pretty nice. And then you have the focus tree. The focus tree is about those who are using magic a lot. The higher you raise these skills, the more effective you're going to be in your magical combat, essentially, is what it comes down to. Because every time that you use a skill or every time that you use a spell, it takes your focus. It takes focus to use it. And the higher you have these, well, the more focus you're going to have, the quicker you can recover it, and the more effective those focus-based spells and skills and that kind of thing will be. So it's pretty nice. And so again, I know that's kind of a long explanation for something that might be seeming kind of simple, but a lot of people, when they step into the game, they don't really have a feel for that skill tree when they first start out, because a lot of people are used to playing games where you come in, you have a class, you raise up the levels in that class, and you get opening up more skills as you go along. Well, again, this is a classless system, so literally you could create a bow-wielding, death magic throwing, heavy armor, carrying a shield sort of person if you really wanted to. You might not be the most effective, but you could do it if you want to. And there really are a lot of builds that people are making in the game to see what they can have as their most effective sort of thing. It really is the idea of you can come in and be anything that you want to be. It's really cool how they've got that worked out. Now, how it all works basically is that every time you use a skill, so in other words, like for example, this ranged combat right here, every time that I fire a bow or a crossbow, it puts skill points into this skill. It will also raise up some of the other things like your healthy, your training dexterity, training strength, and those other things, although not as much. Now, everything that you do in the game, whenever you make a kill, complete quests, that kind of thing, you will get experience points for. And those go down here into your experience pool. So for example, right now I've got, about 80,000 in my skill pool that I can make use of. So every time that I use a skill, every time that I use a weapon, every time that I cast a spell, whatever the case may be, it will take points away from this experience pool to raise that skill, to do something with that skill. So it's important to pay attention to how many skill experience points you're getting, because you always want to remain in the positive. You always want to remain up above 0 so that the skills that you're learning can be continuing to be trained. Now, the other important aspect of having this is that if you die, any skills that are not set to either be raised or maintained will lose. You'll lose actually points and potentially actual skill levels in that skill. So you want to make sure that you always have experience coming in that your skills can spend. Is basically what it comes down to. So again, it's confusing for some people when they first come into the game, because there are a lot of aspects to this that are very different from other games. And I'm sorry about the kind of squeakiness. If you guys are hearing a little bit of squeakiness, it's because my chair is, for some reason, deciding to make noise tonight. I don't get it. It's annoying to me. I just paid a bunch of money for this chair and it's already squeaking. Anyways, so that's the adventuring skills. Now there's another set of skill trees over here in crafting. And while you might not want to be a crafter, it is important to pay attention to this. It has its own skill points that it has built up, and that's separate from the adventuring experience. So as opposed to making kills and completing quests and that kind of thing, going to your adventuring skill points, the crafting has its own separate built up skill points, and those are gained by doing crafting things. So it also has 3 different sets of skills. This one is about resource gathering in one way or another. This one is about refining those resources that you gather. And this one is about actually creating things out of those refined resources that you've gathered with the gathering skills. I'm not focusing too much on doing crafting a lot with this character. I am raising up cooking I like to do cooking in the game, and I might do some of the other things later on down the line. But for right now, I'm more concerned about raising up just a couple of the gathering skills. Primarily, I've been raising up the field dressing skill, which is basically skinning. You know, when you kill an animal or a creature, you can skin it to get resources. So that's what the field dressing is all about. And as you can see, I've got those raised up pretty decently high at this point in time, and still gaining in it, so that I can get the most resources out of whatever I kill. So that's it as far as the skill tree goes. Again, there's a lot of depth that's to it that is kind of deceptive on the surface. The nice thing with it is that you can do a whole lot of crap with it that basically, again, you kind of can create your own person in the game, and you're not limited to anything. In fact, if you want to, when you start the game, basically, it starts you off on a path, either the path of truth, the path of courage, or the path of love. And if your path of love, for instance, you're going to get skills that are kind of ranger oriented, very ranged, taming, that kind of thing, and air magic. If you chose courage, it would raise you up in blades and shields and that sort of thing, heavy armor. Again, sort of that warrior kind of a mindset. And if you choose the path of truth, you would be kind of given skills to begin with that would make you more of a mage type of a character, higher intelligence and more focus, and your magic skills would start off higher. Now, just because you start off on one path, though, does not limit you to that path. And again, you can create your own character. They just do that as sort of a start, just so that you have something that you can work with when you first start the game out, because it kind of throws you to the wolves right away. You know, you're going to get into combat right away. You're going to get into, sort of gathering resources right away with the quests that you're given at the beginning of the game. I needed a drink. For those of you guys just tuning in, we are playing Shroud of the Avatar. It's a new game, although it's been in development for a while, from the same people that created Ultima Online. It's sort of the spiritual successor to Ultima Online, of which I loved and played the ever-living crap out of. I can't tell you how many thousands of hours I played that game. And I'm well on the way to getting there with this game as well. It just came out 5 days ago, and I've already got 70 hours played into it. Yeah. So anyways, this is my house. I'm in the player-owned town called Oracle Oasis. It's actually one of the towns that's run by the guild that I'm in. I'm in Havoc Guild, for those of you guys that are curious. This town right here, this is actually a player-owned town. Everything in it is owned by players. It's run by players. The only things that are not are some of the NPCs that the guild set up here towards the entrance of the town. It's got sort of your basic crafting merchants and banker and that sort of thing. Easy access to sort of do things. And then the person that made the town, they also set up this kind of crafting pavilion here that has different crafting tables and that sort of thing within easy reach of the NPCs that might sell the things that they would need to work with. So I'm going to cast a little light spell here just so I can have the extra light, because it's nighttime and, well, nights are dark in this game. But anyways, so I ended up supporting the game basically by buying a bundle that had one of the houses in it. So this is the house I've got. It's very basic right now. I really don't have much of anything because, well, I just started playing the game not too long ago, and I don't have a lot of stuff. Don't have a lot of gold, don't have a lot of stuff. I do have an entrance to my basement here. I have a 5-story basement, which is essentially empty right now. I've literally done nothing with it because I just got it today. So I have not done anything at all with it. And yeah, so like I said, I haven't even got stuff to put into it yet. The game has actually been out for a while, quote unquote. It's been available to play for a while. In fact, about 2 years ago, it was fully playable as it stood, and people started getting into it. I got into it a little bit, but at the time I didn't have a lot of time to play, so I ended up not really getting into it. I can't jump up here. I always have troubles jumping into this pool here, but it's kind of important to jump into this. There we go. It's kind of important to jump into this because these are kind of devotional shrines that our town has set up. If you jump into it, you get an 8-hour buff that's really nice. It gives you like a bonus to your regeneration of your hit points and your focus. And I can't get in there. There we go. It's sort of a pain in the butt sometimes. But anyways, I know my system is just slightly laggy because of the live streaming as well. So, you'll have to pardon that a little bit. But anyways, so it's a really nice town. I like what they did with it. I like how it's set up. It's very pretty. And it's got a lot of, the things that you could want amenities wise, just sort of sitting around. But I'm going to take you to another place here. I'm going to use the little travel mechanism that's here in our town to go to the Overworld Map. So the way that they did Shroud of Avatar, there's sort of two different types of things that you'll be interacting with, or types of world spaces that you'll be interacting with. Primarily, you're going to be dealing with scenes, and I'll show you once this loading screen is done here. I'll show you what I mean by the scenes. The Overland Map, the Overworld Map, is sort of well, basically, you can walk from one location to another across the map to get to wherever it is that your destination is. So right now, I was in Oracle Oasis, which is sort of a suburb of a town called Sultan, which is right here, as you can see, Sultan. So this is the Overworld Map, and as you can see, the little placard up above the town there shows what it is, and if I was to walk closer to it, it would allow me to enter into it. If I hit the E key right now, it would enter into Sultan. As you go around the world, you can see here on the world map, it is. I'm right now kind of on this center area around these bunch of rivers. If I expand the map out, you're going to see this is just a very small part of the world. The world itself is actually extremely large. Try and get the whole thing in here. There we go. That'll definitely do it. Oh boy, I zoomed way too far out. Too far. I went too far. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just right now in this little itty bitty corner of the world essentially, and the rest of the world is completely open and interactable if you can get to it. And what I mean by getting to it is you actually have to walk from one location to another to get to your destinations. Now, let me go ahead and bring my map back down here. Yeah, man. Sometimes with my eyes, it's a little hard to see when I'm actually interacting with the corners. There we go. That'll work. I'll just do it that way. So anyways, okay, so there are many different places within the world that are interactable that you can actually go into, and they're called scenes. So there's scenes within the overarching overworld. If I was to go over here, for instance, this is East Perennial Trail. This is an adventure location, which is available for anybody to go into. Now, it says down here it is a tier 1 adventure area, and it gives you the likely creatures that you're going to encounter, the resources that you might be able to find there that you could then gather using your gathering skills. There are 5 different tiers of adventure areas. It goes tier 1 to tier 2 up to 5. And the higher you go, the more difficult it's going to be for you to be there to do what you're going to do. So right now, with the way that my character is, here's my character, Serene Heart. With the way that my character is right now, I can handle tier 3 without a problem. It's usually not an issue at all. Tier 4 I can do with difficulty as long as I'm not getting attacked by more than 1 or 2 critters or thugs or whatever it is that you're fighting at a time. Tier 5, I can kill 1 maybe, depending on what kind of enemy it is. I can hold my own against 1. 2 is definitely going to be a problem. Any further than that, I'm pretty much dead meat laying on the ground. So as you gain in skills, you're going to get more adventuring levels. And the more adventuring levels you have, the more higher tier you can get to and survive without too much problem. As far as equipment and stuff goes, you're not limited with when you find something or you buy something from a player. You don't have to be a certain level to use whatever it is that you're trying to use. So if I got a hold of, for instance, one of the quote end game bows, I could use it and have no problem with it. That's actually pretty nice. You can kind of get ahead a little bit if you were to find one of those, higher level items to make use of. So that's a pretty nice little feature there. Right now, I think, if I remember right, yeah, I'm adventure level 41 right now. So, your adventure level sort of gives you an idea of what tier of encounters you'd be able to really handle. At 41, again, like I mentioned before, I can handle tier 3 without a problem. Tier 4 is a little bit of a problem depending on what happens. Tier 2 and tier 1 is literally I can just blow right through those, and I probably wouldn't even really gain any experience because everything in there would be such a low kill for me. So this right here is a tier 2 adventuring area. Now, within each of the scenes, within each of these areas, the towns, everything, within all of these different scenes, there are different quests that are available that you can do. And if you were to do them, well, you'd get, different things as rewards, such as gold, experience points that go towards your experience pools. You might get some items or resources and that kind of thing out of them as well. So I'm also going to, since it's nighttime here, I'm going to go ahead and cast my night vision. That way you guys can see a little bit as far as the map goes. Unfortunately, being night, it is dark. So anyways, so as you can see, as you go through the areas of the overland, you can see there's all these different scenes that are open and available to go into and play through. And each of them offers something different. They're all different locations. They're all, you'll find little secret things hidden within them. You'll do all kinds of stuff. Here's Arturis. This is another town that you can go into and sell items, quest, all of that kind of stuff. The nice thing too is that in this game, again, everything everything in the game is entirely player driven. The economy is player driven. The crafting, the items that you get, everything. You can get things as loot, and eventually, as the game progresses, you'll encounter things like artifact items. But everything in the game that is the best is player made. So it's very nice. Again, a kind of a throwback to the older MMOs, especially such as UO, that had yes, the ability to loot items and pick up a +4 halberd off of somebody and make use of it. But the best items in the game were created by players and sold on their vendors. That's exactly how it is in this game. Every town that you can walk into is either a town that's an NPC town, and if you go into it, you'll actually find people have their houses in that town. They might have vendors that are sitting there in front of their houses with the items that they've created or the items that they've gone out and adventured and found and are putting together for sale on their vendor. There are also player-run towns, like the one that I started off in there. The Oracle Oasis is a player-run town. It is literally owned by players. Here's another one right here, I think, up ahead. Nope, I'm sorry, I was wrong there. There's not a whole lot of them over on this part of the map. I think there's one nearby here. But anyways, so it's pretty cool that they've done that kind of thing. Now, of course, it's going to cost, part of the here's one of the player run towns. Actually, you can see, I think that's a player run. Lockfield. I'm not sure. Maybe it's not. That might be an NPC town. But anyways, it does cost a little bit to get a house, either through buying it through the store in the game, or the store on their website, or through buying it in game. There's also raffles once in a while where they will give away a deed for a plot of land. Is that a player run down there? Maybe not. I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to see sometimes. I'm just kind of walking you through the Overland map here real quick just to show you sort of how big it is. As you can see, I've kind of crossed through from, let me see. My map is a little laggy. Kind of started off in this area right here, and now I'm, where I'm at right now. It's not too far that I've walked, and yet, I think we got attacked. Yes, we got attacked by something. I don't know what it was, though. Maybe you guys saw it and I just didn't see it. So this happens sometimes, too, with the Overland map. You will actually encounter random things that will either attack you or maybe it's like a random resource spot that you run across. You can enter into it and gather, like mining or something like that. This is a forest road encounter. I have no idea what I'm dealing with here. I didn't see it when I came in. I'm going to cast up my water elemental here real quick. And I'm going to switch to my bow. Just so I can have a little bit of range, just in case it's a really high-level encounter. Let's see, if I go back this way, it probably will take me actually out. I just want to make sure again. Yeah, there's the exit for where we're at here. So what attacked us here? Just going to walk through here with my little wings on. There we go. Oh, it's wolves. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it was a random wolf encounter, so there's one. There we go. Now, my water elemental is not attacking him yet because he's not actually hit me, and I've got him in defensive mode right now. If I have him in aggressive, he'll kind of wander around quite a bit to find kills. So this was a blue. He's not very, very high level compared to me, but there you go. So I got an animal hide as the skin off of him. Let's see, what else do we have here? Okay, so there's some cotton I can go ahead and harvest. There we go. We got some raw cotton. Was that literally the only wolf in this encounter? I know, because right there's the other exit. It might have been. Just one random lone wolf wandering around thinking that he's badass and going to attack me. Oh, nope. There's another one. There he is. Come on, boy. So there you go. My water elemental got into it a little bit there. And we'll go ahead and skin him. I kind of, you know, you get into the habit when you do kills on critters, you'll sort of just hit that key immediately to start skinning them and gathering the resources off of them. It's not worth like a crap ton of money, but every little bit in the game helps. Here's a tree. I'm going to go ahead and chop it down. You can only harvest certain trees in the game. Right now it's either maple wood or pine wood, although they do add new things in all the time. Right now that's the main resources as far as the forestry is concerned. Hello, doggy. Get in here. Do my rapid fire thing there. So he's yellow to me. The other one was blue. We didn't gain a whole lot off of him, but these guys being yellow, they are essentially equal level to me, equal tier to me, which means that we'll be getting like the full bonus experience and that sort of thing from doing any kind of kills on them. Hopefully you guys are enjoying so far. This is like I said, it's a different kind of game. It's one that you know. It's different for people, again, because so many people are used to doing things the modern quote unquote way. But to be fair, there's something to be said for these older style games. To me, I like it. You know, again, I'm an old school Ultima Online player. I loved what they did with it. I loved the way they did the game and some of the fun that I had in there. I just could not be matched by any other game that I've played ever since. But this one does definitely take me back to those days. And I have to say I'm very appreciative of them for doing that. I've actually put quite a bit of money into the game so far to help, you know, in my own kind of way. It sounds like we had a bear over there somewhere. Just because I appreciate it, though. You know, I like what they've done with it. I like what they're doing with it. And I hope that they continue on with the path that they're going. Yep. Hello, bear. Again, he's blue to me, so he's a little bit low. But that's okay. He's still worth the hide. So right there you see I'm doing a meticulous collection. That means that I'm basically collecting from him twice. I was able, with the skill level that I have with my field dressings, I'm able to sometimes get that extra harvest, which means that I get double the items out of it, which is pretty nice. See, we got another thing here. Where is he? There. Hello, bear. Oh, he's a big bear. This could be difficult. He's an obsidian bear, which means that he's very, very high level. We'll see what we can do here. Oh, boy. You got all kinds of stuff going on now. Oh, yeah. No. We're not going to be able to handle that obsidian bear. We're going to go ahead and get ourselves out of here. Oh, yeah. Let's pop the healing potion on there real quick just to make sure. Yeah. Hello, guys. Okay. Well, that was fun while it lasted. Those obsidian bears, they are tier 5 critters, and as you can see, I'm definitely not equipped for tier 5 yet. I'll bet you that was like the epic spawn for the area. He probably was guarding a treasure chest or something back there, actually. But that's okay. We survived it. If we died, it wasn't too big of a deal anyways. The way that death works in the game basically is you have, again, that pool of experience points, which will... basically it when you die, it will take away from skills that you don't have experience for, is sort of what it comes down to. But you don't lose any items. You lose durability on items, but you won't, like, you don't leave a body behind with your stuff. That kind of thing, unless you're killed in PvP. PvP works differently. It is a different animal altogether. But I don't PvP. There's many reasons why, but my blindness is the main one. It's very difficult for me to go against players because, well, they're very sneaky. And I sometimes have problems dealing with that kind of thing. I need things to be a little bit more on the predictable side so that I can kind of compensate due to my vision. But anyways, so we'll come in here into the Desolate Hills area. I kind of messed around in this area a couple of days ago, and it's got a fair amount of stuff that's in there that could be a little bit of fun to mess around with. So it's dawn. My night vision skill just turned off. It does work during the daytime. It just sort of has that green cast everywhere during the daytime. But it's not too bad doing things during the day. So there we go. We got a large Timberwolf. Oh, I just gained a couple of skills there. Both weapon and armor preservation kicked in. Now, I just noticed there was a couple of skills that were missing off of my bar here. I don't know why they weren't popping up. Oh, I see. It's because I'm actually out of the regions to cast them. Ew, that's not good. Oh, I can't do my water elemental either. Ah, shoot. I should have picked up more Mandrake. I didn't realize it was out. Well, okay. Well, that's all right. We'll be all right. We'll be all right. I need to eat a little bit of food here, too. I'll eat some of my garlic chicken that I created here. Food is definitely important in this game. One of the things with it, this garlic chicken, for instance, if I hover over it here, you'll see that I gain 2 health per second for an hour, 2 focus per second for an hour, and also combat focus and health for an hour. Which means that while I've got my weapon drawn, I'll be getting focus and health back, but I get more back if I have my weapon actually sheathed, because it's considered not in combat at that point. So it sounds like there might be actually somebody over here, or is that maybe some bandits that are attacking something? Oh yeah, I see. Things have been going nuts over here. Got a big guy here. kinds of stuff going on. Multi-shot. It'd be kind of nice. Why are you attacking me now, Timberwolf? You should be attacking them. We're taking him slowly down. He's got quite a bit of armor there, I think, that guy. Let's see if I can get that Timberwolf out here first. Keep attacking the skeleton there. There we go. Okay, we got the wolf out of the way. Now we can concentrate on this bigger guy here. With the range thing, it's kind of important to just keep on moving, you know. Almost there. There we go. Okay, so now we can loot these guys up. We had a katana, really? Nice. That's actually a little bit better than the sword that I have been using. Not too much. It's a little bit more damage per hit, but less critical chance overall. So we got some hides and a carcass out of that. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and sheath my weapon here so that I can get my focus back a little bit quicker. So as you can see, sometimes things can get a little bit hairy. And this is a tier 3 area, so it's edgy for me sometimes. And as you can see, there was that hardened skeleton that was there. There we go. If I had my water elemental here, it'd be a little bit easier, but not by a whole lot. I didn't have him for a while. I actually just got him here 2 days ago. You guys will have to remind me to refill my mandrake. So welcome to the game, everybody. This is Shroud of the Avatar. It is definitely an old school RPG type of thing. It's made by the same creators, the same developers as Ultima Online, and it is the spiritual successor to Ultima Online. It's a lot of fun, I will say. I've been definitely enjoying my time in the game. It is entirely a skill-based game, not a class system type of a game. Mostly I'm just collecting the animal hides. I'm trying to get some animal hides. Primarily I'm here for the animals to see if I can get some suet, because player vendors will buy the suet for a pretty good amount of money. And I kind of need the money right now. I'm a little broke at this point in time. I had to buy some stuff. And I'd like to get a little bit of cash so that I can kind of mess around with it a little bit. So I'm trying to see if I can get some suet out of the field dressings by killing some of these animals here. And there are definitely a lot of animals in this zone, so if we can find some like metals and that kind of thing to mine, as well as some trees, then so much the better. I mean, I can turn around and sell those too. Eventually, what I'm going to do with the house that I've got, I'm going to set up a vendor on that house so that I can get a little bit of cash by selling to other players. There's quite a few people that come through the town that I live in. I'm part of a pretty large-sized guild And so a lot of people come through that town, and I like to be able to sell to them. It's sort of my thing. I like to sell in games. Back in UO, I had quite a few vendors set up at the houses that I lived in. I liked doing mining. I was a miner for a while. Tailor. All kinds of stuff. I basically did everything in that game that it was possible to do in that game. I played it for such a long period of time. Oh, I got a critical hit. Nothing like chopping down a tree in one hit. Just bam. Feel like Paul Bunny in there for a minute. If you guys want to say hi to me in game, I am Serene Heart. You guys could add me onto your friend list. I'd love to have you on there. One of the things as far as the travel system in the game goes, again, you can do the Overland Map and sort of walk everywhere. There are recall scrolls in the game, which will take you back to whatever place you're bound to. Go ahead and get that stag here. Right now I'm bound to I think I'm bound to my home location, actually, if I remember right. Anyways, with a recall scroll, you can be transported from wherever to wherever you're bound, but you can only be bound to one place. There are also in the game teleport scrolls, and if you use a teleport scroll, it will allow you to teleport from anywhere in the world to somebody that is on your friend list. Wizard over here, I gotta take him out first. I'm a skeleton mage. It's sort of dangerous to have those guys around. Be on the wizard there. Yeah, we might be hurting a little bit. There we go, got him done. Not being on fire would be nice. What the heck else am I getting hit with? Oh, zombies. Jeez, lots of stuff decided to spawn up on me there. Get myself up real quick. This guy should be down here with that hit. Yep. There we go. Take myself out of combat mode here so I can heal up a little bit. So far from what I've seen, there is definitely not a lack of things to do in the game. There is always something going on. There are always events that are happening within the game, both dev-driven and player-driven. There's lots of things to get involved with. You can get together and party up with people and go out and do, all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's definitely a fun game. It's got a lot to it that I have yet to explore, and I've been playing it for a number of days now. And there are some people that have played the game for a couple of years now, and they haven't even seen all of the content that's available in the game. So, I mean, it's very cool. They've done a good job of keeping things interesting. Got a zombie on his way over here, I think. Nope. That would be an archer. Whenever you're out adventuring, a hint for you guys, whenever you're out adventuring, it's a really good idea if you're getting attacked by a few different things. Oh, we got a supply bundle. Cool. If you're getting attacked by a few different things, you want to make sure to take out the first and foremost things to take out is any magic using guys. Dodge that. Any magic using guys, because they will not only generally light you on fire and try to kill you dead, but they will also heal up the other things that are there around you. So if there are, guys like this, for instance, and there was a mage around, that mage would be healing up this guy at the same time. That's not a fun experience. So It's always a good idea to take out the mages first. Aside from that, you know, they're kind of squishy, and they can die pretty quickly if you get into good shots with them. As a blade kind of user or something like that, it can be a little bit difficult to get them, you know, to make sure that you're hitting them, because they will move on you. I like that katana. It will definitely sell for a lot of money. But anyways, so take out the mages first, and then take out the archers. And while you're doing everything, you want to make sure that you are not turning your backs to things as much as possible. Because if you get hit from behind, it will hurt more. You'll get critically hit a lot more, and you'll be stunned more, and so on and so forth. So you want to make sure to think tactically when you're in combat. Again, it's a very strategic kind of a style of play. You have to take things into consideration like that. I'm not sure what else might be in here. I don't know. Let's see. Is there any other critters that are going to be coming at me? Nope. Doesn't look like there's anyone around right now. So that's pretty cool. It's like a little place of worship here for these these deadlings that are around. It might actually be even a puzzle, and I'm not aware of it. There are a lot of puzzles in the game, to say the least. A lot of the zones that you go into, they have sort of this basis of being a puzzle location. Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. If you can figure out the puzzles, you might either open up an entrance to a dungeon, or you know, make a treasure chest available for yourself to loot. Yeah, I mean, all kinds of cool stuff along those lines. I'm trying to run this guy around so I don't get hit too much. Because again, he's kind of a higher level than me. As you can see, he's red, so he can do me quite a bit of damage. Come on, get the dodge in there. There we go. Okay. I keep hitting him with a disabling shot that slows him down at least a fair bit. It's one of the ranged skills. Let's get some rapid fire in there. Good. There we go. Wait until I'm healed up before I move any further. Because you never know. I've gone through at least some of this area before. But I've not really gone through much of this middle section, so I'm not sure what all is what all is around. I think there's some spiders that are over here towards the west side of the land. Yeah, in fact, right there's one. Nope, that's a zombie actually. Keep up those skill gains. Oh, got another skeleton. Jeez, those guys spawn fast. Good lord. Yep, we got an archer over there now. Let's see what I can do to take him out first. Ow. See, he stunned me there. That was one of those stun attacks because I was facing away from him there. Come on, take out that archer. There we go. Alright. Woo, he's hurt. He's hurting me. My water elemental would be nice right about now. Yes, it would. Almost there. Getting a little bit low on focus. There we go. Ooh, man, those guys spawn fast. Jeez, that's crazy. So as you guys can see, when we started off, we had about 80,000 experience in the pooled adventure experience, and now we're up to what, about 92,000? Oh, about 95,000. So we've actually gained about 15,000 experience just by running through here and killing off those the critters that have been around here. Looks like we got another hardened skeleton around somewhere. Yeah, there he is. And unfortunately, we ended up hitting that stag too. So he's oh geez, we're actually going to be in a bit of trouble. We're going to go ahead and take off here. See if we can run out of their aggro range a little bit. I'm not really prepped to handle two of those guys. Not very well. Let's see. Yeah, there they go. So it's kind of nice with the adventure areas here. If you get attacked by more than you can handle, a lot of times, if you catch it early enough, you can sort of get far enough away so that they have their turnaround range, and they will sort of run back to their starting spots. Just something to bear in mind if you start getting hit by a lot of stuff that you're not able to handle. Oh jeez, there's a lot of crap in this zone. Let me switch over to blades here. The nice thing about the blades is that it's good for hitting basically everything that's in front of you. All the skills, they will hit two targets. There we go. So if you kind of get hit by a bunch of stuff at once like that, sometimes it's helpful to slip into blades or one of the other ones that has like the multiple targets. I think pole arms can do 3. Maybe. I don't know. I've not messed with the pole arms, so I don't know for sure. The nice thing about ranged is that it's really powerful against single targets, but when you start getting a lot of targets like that, it definitely can be a bit of a pain. So there was a suet finally. So it's good to have sort of a range of things that you have available for you. A lot of people, like with magic, for instance, they will focus on one particular tree and get that thing maxed out. But for instance, if you're a fire mage and you've only got fire going on and you're coming up against things that are like, for instance, fire elementals or heavy fire users, they might have a bit of resistance against fire, and well, you'd be kind of in trouble because they're going to resist everything that you're throwing at them. So even if you are a fire user, it might be a good idea to, sort of go into one of the other trees so that you have something always available to you to fight with. The nice thing with being a ranged and having some blade skill is that if you run out of arrows, which is very, very easy to do, then you have a little bit of a backup that you can switch to if you need. Let's see what else we got around. There's a tree up here we can harvest, I think. Yep. Oh, we're coming into the spider area. Apparently there's a spider somewhere. I'm just not sure where he is. Ah, there he is. Going down, spider. Going down. So if you guys see that little blue skeletal looking thing right there, that's where a player died recently. Maybe that spider there ended up killing him. That's his skeleton left behind. Kind of sad, I know. But it's cool too. I mean, that's neat that they do that as sort of a reflection there. Come on, Timberwolf. There we go. Thought I was close enough to him, but I guess I wasn't. There we go. So I'm going to basically be going around until I get to right around my weight limit, so that I can then go back to my house and see what I can do to sell it. It looks like this area has been kind of cleared out. I wonder if somebody else is around. And now it's ringing. What's this? I haven't seen this before. Yeah, I thought that was something blinking there. What is it? Oh well. Take this guy out. It's dark, man. I can't see. I'm caught in a web here. Go figure. Oh, no. No. Shoot. Stupid web. Let's see if we can wander away from a bit. Nope, nope, we don't want to walk into the web. No, 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 no. Now I'm bleeding. Go figure. Get off me, man. Get off me. Jeez, these guys got a long follow range. There we go. Oh, jeez. Stupid boar. Go away, piggy. Gas my night sight again here. Just so I can see a little bit easier. Well, that was a mess and a half, wasn't it? Something annoying about the boars is that they stun you a lot. They hit you with that stun attack, and it kind of knocks you out of place and stuns you around for a bit. Not sure how many arrows do I have left here. Yeah, almost 600 arrows. That's not bad. Although I started off this little trip here with about 1,500 arrows. That lets you know how quickly you can run through arrows. It's not hard to do. I think for a bit here, I'll go ahead and wander around with my sword out. You know, I wonder, since I've got the katana, I've been curious about doing the dual-handed, the dual-wielding type of thing. I'm not sure if that's available or not. Oh, it is. Huh. So I've not messed around with dual wielding at all. I guess we can see what happens here. Not bad. Not bad, if I do say so myself. Oh, I see. It's a two-handed, isn't it? Ah, no wonder. Okay. Well, that makes sense. I'll go back to my regular longsword. It's a little bit quicker. Quit knocking me around, piggy. You're a pain in my butt. Gotta watch my health here. Ah, that missed. They keep knocking me out of the range. Damn piggies. So not bad. I mean, when you're using swords, when you're using like the melee weapons, you have a pretty decent chance to parry, which can eliminate a lot of the damage that you're taking. I've been thinking since I've been using one-handed swords, I've been considering doing the picking up a shield, but I haven't really bothered with it yet. I may at some point in time. I'm just not sure how heavily I want to focus on melee, because I like the ranged a lot, but at the same time, the melee definitely has a lot of power to it, and you can kind of stand up, I think, against things a little bit stronger than you can with the ranged, just because of the way it's designed. Kills wise, the blades can be a little bit slower, but you seem to not take quite as much damage when you're using them. But I've got not as much experience with the blade combat as I do with ranged. I mean, my range tree, as you can see, was pretty well filled out. One thing that's nice, though, about using the melee is that it seems to be raising my strength up a little bit more than with the ranged, which makes sense. I love getting those critical one shot on the trees. Hey, Tom. Yeah, indeed. I'll be making some bacon out of him later. I do have the skill to, or the recipe to make bacon, literally. I'll be having BLTs later. Little tent from somebody here. I wonder who has that and why they're no longer here. So there's one of the exits. The cool thing with the game, you know, like I said there are a lot of different zones, scenes within the game, and each of them has their own little unique story. If you can figure it out, it's pretty cool. More undead. An undead archer, actually. Yeah, see, he's gonna run. And he's gonna grab up more of his fellows. Dang it. Yeah, there's a wizard. There's a footman. Yeah, okay, we'll wander. Just for a minute. I'm gonna pop on my ranged here since those ranged guys were up there. It's a little bit easier to take them out, ranged versus ranged. I just want to get rid of this footman here so he stops bothering me. Okay, so let's get this archer that was harassing me up there. There we go. I know there was at least one wizard. Or one magic user, one mage, you know. Let me get my focus back a little bit here. Tom, yes, I guess you could say it's a little bit like World of Warcraft in that it's an MMORPG, but as far as the way that they've got things set up in the game, it does function quite a bit differently. Unlike WoW, unlike World of Warcraft, the game is not a class-based game in any way. It is a skill-based game, so you have actual skill trees that you raise up the skills as you use them. So as opposed to World of Warcraft, where you go out, you gain experience, you gain levels, and with the levels come new skills to use, or new magic, or whatever the case may be. Unlike that, with this game, every time that you use a skill, you have it raises, it gains. So as you can see, like if I do this aimed shot right here, I just gained skill points in aimed shot. And I'll show you the tree here real quick. You might not have been logged in for that right there. So here's the ranged skill tree. I've got ranged combat. That's level 80 right now. Ooh, really? Okay, cool. I got it up to 80 now. That's one of the milestone points, is getting it up to 80. My aimed shot is 54, and it's about halfway through to 55. And each time that you gain a level in the different skills, it will gain in power in one way or another. Whether that's through it doing more damage, having a lower cooldown, whatever the case may be, it has different effects. And there's a wizard over there. I just heard him trying to cast a spell at me. Where is he at? Did he wander around? I think he did. Where he at? I know there's one over here. I heard him. What's crap? Is he over there? What are you doing over there, dude? What are you doing with your life? Oh, I see. It's another player. Ah, okay. There we go. So that was another player that's running around. I was like, what the heck? I hear somebody casting spells here. I don't know what. Okay. Oh, okay. I see there's actually a couple of them here wandering around. Well, cool. That works. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, World of Warcraft, it is an MMORPG. This is an MMORPG, but that's kind of where the similarities sort of end. Everything else is definitely different from there. This is classed itself as a spiritual successor to Ultima Online. The same developers that created Ultima Online and sort of told the story in Ultima Online also developed this game. And those that developed Ultima Online, basically they were responsible for creating all of the Ultima games in general. So if you're familiar with Ultima, you know Lord British. Lord British is the executive producer of this game and one of the creators of the story of this game. And a lot of the developers that they had for Ultima Online, they ended up also hiring into here, and they've been a part of it since the beginning. So yeah. Pretty cool. I've been a fan of the Ultima series since its inception, basically back in the late 70s, and I've sort of loved it ever since. So it's nice to see this game out. I've been having a lot of fun with it since the day it was released, and yeah, so we've been going from there. There's another boar somewhere around, but I'm not sure what direction he's in. I'm gonna check this out. I've never been over in this part of the world before. Yeah, let me put that night sight back on because it's a pain in the butt to wander around in the dark. What the heck do we have here? That's pretty cool. It's like a little promenade going on here. That's awesome. Like I said, every zone has its own little story that you can find out if you take the time to learn it. It's really cool. In fact, one of the developers of this game is Terry Goodkind, the creator of the Dragonlance novels, and they wrote much of the story here in Shroud of the Avatar. So it's pretty cool to have that as well going on with it. There's a mage trying to blow me away here. Let me kill off that footman. I know there's a zombie there, but I'd rather get the mage first. Wherever he may be. Oh, he's behind me now. Ooh, got him before he used his skill. Oh, jeez. Got another one of these guys. Oh, jeez. What are we doing with our lives here? We'll wander our way back out of here. Little rough. Little rough. When it comes to those red guys, I can kind of only handle a certain amount of those at once at this point in time. Just because I'm not that high level yet, so. These guys have a long range to them. I was trying to get the other guys drug away, you know, to sort of turn off their aggro on me there, so I can get this guy down. He's a little bit tough though, so I'm trying to range him as much as I can. That rapid shot I've got is pretty nice. I like it. He's telling me to die. You die. You go first. Ooh, katana, I'd like to loot it again. There we go. Make things a little bit easier. All right, Mr. Archer. Time for you to go down. How am I on life? Oh, I'm still doing pretty good. That'll work. Okay. Yeah, I suppose you could say it's kind of a cross between Skyrim and WoW. That's probably a fair-ish comparison between the two. It's very much story-driven. The whole thing is about story, and the choices that you make in the game do impact your overall game altogether, which is pretty cool. All right, how many arrows do I have left going on here? About 350. Not too bad. I wonder where that other zombie was. I'd like to get my loot from that one kill that I made over here. I don't think I actually ended up looting it. I just don't remember where it was. One of the zombies, but that wasn't the zombie that I was looking at. I'm glad that the zombies in the game, at least so far the ones that I've encountered, are more of the Romero zombies as opposed to the Rage zombies. That's one thing I'm grateful for. Shoot, what's gonna come at me now? Another archer. Critical a lot with that one. That was nice. There's definitely not a lack of undead in this zone. I suppose that's, to be fair, you know, the name of the place is Desolate Hills. He'd kind of... Or no, this is the Forlorn Woods, isn't it? No, the Restless Woods. That's what it was, the Restless Woods. So I suppose with a name like that, it's to be expected. Oh, here was those guys. Okay, there we go. Good, we can get our loot. Give me that loot. There's a zombie around somewhere. Where are you? Luckily, too, the zombies aren't too hard to kill, at least, again, the ones that I've encountered. They've not been too bad. It would really be nice, though, if I had remembered to bring mandrake roots so that I could cast my damn water elemental. I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt for not having that. Die, Mr. Mage, die. There we go. Okay, the fire can stop anytime now. Thank you. So what you're watching here, this is Shroud of the Avatar. It is a buy-to-play game. There is no monthly subscription for it. Once you buy the game, it's yours to play. There is both an online and an offline mode to this game as well. The offline mode has the exact same things that the online mode has to offer. The only differences is there are no other players that you'll interact with, obviously. So there won't be any kind of like player vendors that are around to buy resources or weapons and armor and that kind of thing from, which is kind of one of the bigger aspects of the game. Again, everything that is the best gear in the game is player-created gear. So without that around, you might find yourself having a little bit more of a difficult time when it comes to later on in the game, as well as the fact that, you know, there won't be any parties for you to be participating with, so some of the higher level content might be a little bit difficult for you. That being said, though, the offline mode does have companions that are built into the game, and those companions can be pretty powerful. So if you can get the companions to join in with you, they will be a part of your party and out adventuring with you. And they do have their own stories to tell, their own quests that they want to do. And they will get upset with you if you kind of are abandoning your virtues and they don't like it. So, for instance, the Joffre, who is sort of the epitome of a paladin, he will get quite upset with you. He's all about the courage, and so he'll get upset with you if you do actions that are counter to that. So, pretty cool. But again, you know, the content itself that's in the game, as far as the things that you can do in the game, it's exactly the same regardless of whether you're in online or offline mode. In fact, I think as far as the offline mode goes, they have some special things in there too that are not available in online mode. The primary, of course, being the companion system, which is not available in online mode, obviously, because your companions will be your other party players, or other party members that are actually other players. So, a little bit of a difference there. Sounds like somebody's over there chopping down trees. I wonder if it's that those people that were following me around. Don't you? Yeah, you interrupted me, and I was right in the middle of getting my meticulous. Damn spiders. I was right in the middle of getting my double loot there. That's right. Oh, well, it gave it to me anyway, didn't it? Yeah, it did. That's cool. Didn't give me the meticulous version of it, but it at least gave me the primary loot. A lot of the items that you find as loot are then used in the crafting system. There's not much that is really considered to be sort of the old-fashioned vendor trash sort of things that you just kind of collect to sell to vendors that are, you know, like the NPC vendors in the game. There's not really a whole lot of that. Almost everything that you loot can be used by players in some kind of fashion to create new things, whether it's, I don't know, food, tailored items, armor, whatever, you know. I mean, as you saw in the skill tree, under the crafting area, there are a lot of different things. There's blacksmithing, there's carpentry, tailoring, alchemy, yeah, and cooking. So lots of different things that are available for players to do as far as crafting is concerned. And of course, within each of those, they have their own little trees available too. And the way that things are created, you don't know everything right offhand. You actually have to learn how to make the items by getting recipes and patterns, which can be easy for some. For some of the recipes, they're not too hard to get a hold of, whereas some of the others are a little bit more difficult to find. Sort of makes sense. coming on morning here. Dawn is approaching. Alrighty. Let's see, where are we? I think we're sort of in this little back corner of the whole place. Need to start making my way towards the exit of the zone. So I gotta go this way. And there's a couple more spiders over there. And here they come. I'll just take them out here with arrows. A little bit faster. Not by a whole lot, granted, but get out of the web. And another one appears. Good time to take a puff off my vape. So we've just started streaming over on Twitch as well. If you guys want to check us out over there, we are doing it kind of for the first time. I was doing a couple of my shows, my radio shows over there as well. A while back, but at this point in time, I've started to do the games there as well, and well, it's my first time streaming an actual game to Twitch. So if you guys want to check me out over there, it is Ira Open Eyes over on Twitch. I'm still figuring out all the ins and outs of Twitch, but it seems pretty cool. These brown spiders aren't too bad to kill. They're pretty quick to go down. And now the other guy wanted to pop in. Go figure. Here, we'll stick on the blade here. They kept sticking me with their webs, so I figured I may as well go ahead and pull out the blade. There we go. And we'll go out of combat mode so we can get the focus back a little bit quicker, because we've got a little ways to go on the map before we get to the exit. I'm going to make my way to the exit so that I can head back to my house and basically drop all my crap off before ending for the evening. But we've collected a fair amount of stuff. We're not over encumbered yet, but we're not too far away from it. Yep, actually about 4 pounds before we become overweight, so not shabby. Not shabby. Alrighty, so let's see. We gotta head this way. Another spider. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and bypass him. We got a little bit to go for the exit here. What do we got over there? Oh, it's a stag. Lots of webbies everywhere. Alrighty, and here's the exit. So we'll go ahead and use the exit here to go back to the Overland Map. And for those of you guys that are just tuning in, you guys get to see what the Overland Map looks like. And for those that were watching earlier, well, you get to see what the Overland Map looks like during the day. And we'll make our way back over to Oracle Oasis, which is my home city, where I have my house. And we can get everything settled from there. So there, again, is really not a lack of things to do in the game. Right now, I was just kind of out in an adventuring area just to gather some resources that I can then sell to some of the other players that are around. But I could go out questing if I want to. I haven't really actually done a whole lot of questing in the game. I've got some that are available to me that I've already accepted, but I've not actually gone through and completed. But this is the Overland Map. As you guys can see, there is a fair amount of detail to the Overland Map when you're walking through it. And the little placards that you see above the areas there, for instance, right there, it says Desolate Hills. That Desolate Hills there, that's another adventuring area. If I walk over to it and hit the E key, I would be able to go into that area, just like I was in that other area there. This is the... let's see, West Perennial Trail. That is a tier 2 adventure area. Again, like I explained earlier, again, for those that are just tuning in, everything basically is based on a tier system here. Tier 1 through 5. Tier 1 being the easiest, tier 5 being the hardest. And even within that tier 5 system, really, it can kind of go up from there. It just doesn't reflect it in the game numbering system, but it's definitely there. A tier 5 elven fighter, for instance, is much different than a tier 5 dragon that's trying to eat your soul. Just as one example. So it's kind of like there's a subsection that's there. I don't really want to walk through the swamp because that's going to take me a little bit of time to get through. So we'll kind of cross the trail here. Hello. Right here is other players. These are other players that are traveling on the Overland Map right now, and you could join in with them and get into parties together, or go out adventuring together, or whatever the case may be. It's pretty cool. So right here is Soul Town. This is one of the first towns that you encounter in the game, and it's sort of where a lot of the new players hang out for quite a bit of time during their beginning gameplay sessions. The hometown that I'm at, the Oracle Oasis, the player-run town that I have my house at, it's in what's called a nested zone. It is a player town within the town of Soul Town. So it doesn't actually appear on the Overland Map, unlike some of the others do, which is kind of a pain, because then, not as many people run across it and find it as they would, running across the Overland Map. So it's possible later on during my career here, I may move my house to a different town so that I can create a vendor. So right here, this is how you travel to the Oracle Oasis. You just use this little travel mode here. And it's kind of a pain in the butt to do the two loading screens when you're just trying to get to your hometown. So that's another reason why I might move it to a different location. Although I really do like how the Oracle Oasis is set up. Everything is really nice and conveniently placed right, at the entry area, and my house is right near the entry area. So if I did set up a vendor there, it wouldn't be that hard to find by the people who come and visit the town. So that's kind of my thinking process with it. I don't know. I may move it. I may not. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Or I may just buy another house plot altogether and have 2. You can have up to 5 different land plots, I think. Something like that. So this is the town. For those of you guys that didn't tune into it earlier, this is the town that I live in. We've got the sort of vendor area here. This is the Npc Vendors. These guys over here, these 2 standing here, these are the vendors actually specific to the guild that I'm in right now. And then right over here is my home. My little home within the world. My little cobalt row house here. So anyways, I guess right now this would be a good place for us to go ahead and end our session for the evening. But I do want to thank all of you guys for tuning in tonight to check out this brand new game from the creators of Ultima Online. It is the spiritual successor to Ultima Online, Shroud of the Avatar. And it's a very, very fun game. I like what they've done with it so far. I've had a really good time in the time that I've been able to play it. And I think that you guys would too. If you've enjoyed the video tonight, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you guys can get notified of when we go live next. And if you want to check out my books, make sure you guys head over to my website, originalworlds.com. I have all kinds of stuff available for you. And we will be live again tomorrow night. Should be right around the midnight hour. And I'd love for you guys to come on in and join. So until next time, keep safe out there, have fun, and thank you so much as always for watching.